Hello, Internet! Welcome to Saturday Nights with Seven. I am your host, Seven, if that wasn't redundant. I actually don't know where the hell I am. I'm like somewhere in Arvada right now. This last passenger dropped me off in a weird spot. So I guess we're along for the ride. Yay. There is nothing more uniquely terrifying than somebody who is so wildly out of control in their drunken state that they're not able to stand. Especially when that individual happens to be, hobbling towards your vehicle. That is the most terrifying thing, because you don't know if they're going to throw up. I mean, you don't know if they're going to smack their head against your window really hard, start bleeding all over your car. I mean, they could do just about anything, and it's more or less out of your control. Unfortunately, these nights when I'm driving for this, ride-sharing service that I can't talk about or can't tell you which one because, again, don't fire me, you run into these people all the time. Just people that are just so wildly drunk, they're spilling ice in your backseat or trying to offer to have sex with you even though they're like 20 years older and not good enough looking that, I'd feel comfortable having sex with them. Well, of course, my fiance would probably take issue with that anyway, but I'm just saying, it's like, don't proposition the taxi cab driver, because that's what I am. I'm a glorified taxi cab driver, and people seem to forget that and start thinking that I'm their friend. And as much as I'd like to be their friend, we can't hang if you're that incredibly drunk and I'm this incredibly sober, and you're that incredibly obnoxious and I'm this incredibly fun and creative and full of myself. Look at me ramble. Ramble, 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 ramble. Ramble, 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 ramble. It seems like lately lesbians have been like a really hot topic in my vehicle on passengers. I can't even go into this last conversation that was just had in the back of my car because it was way too sexually graphic for what YouTube will allow me to get away with. But suffice it to say, this is about like the third or fourth conversation recently that has been had in the back of my car about lesbians specifically. And it's been had by girls, by guys, by straight guys, by gay guys, by straight girls, by gay girls. It's just the weirdest thing. Lesbians are just a hot topic, I guess, right now. Weird how that works. Okay, east. See, this is the other thing that I hate about Denver. Roads sometimes don't make sense, which really is frustrating because, you're desperately trying to get from point A to point B and, you're on kind of a time crunch, but you're lost and the street maps aren't really conducive to being lost. So you're wandering around on 52nd Avenue, confused and crying. I mean, maybe that's just me. Maybe the crying part is just me. I'm getting to the point a lot of times where in the dark, I'm getting increasingly paranoid of just about every set of headlights. You're always afraid that there's going to be a police officer that just happens to show up at exactly the wrong moment and, give you a nice good ticket. Now, I don't know what's more terrifying to me. The idea of something lasting forever or the idea of something being finite. And I guess in broad terms, I'm speaking about the idea of an afterlife versus the idea of no afterlife. Because it seems like living forever is possibly the scariest thing I could think of, because there's not really an end point. There's no termination. Almost when you think of the concept of forever, it's not only scary and daunting in a lot of ways, but when you don't have a way to tangibly end things, it's just this void almost. Existence becomes endless, which is frightening, but at the same time, I, as every human, am increasingly terrified of my own mortality. I'm afraid of there being an end to everything, and what if there is no afterlife? What if this experience I'm currently living is all that I'm ever going to have? Weirdly philosophical things that you end up thinking about, when it's late. It's 5 a.m. right now. It's been a busy night. And you think of these things, and I honestly don't know which one I'm more scared of, the idea that there is a forever or the idea that there's not a forever. I guess all that you can hope for is that whichever one is the reality or, comes to be true, that you can come to terms with it on some level. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen for me, but I'm hoping I get there. So one of the things that I've discovered I really hate is I hate it when passengers, I mean, this goes for anybody, whether or not you're my friend or you're just some random person that I picked up. I freaking hate it when passengers decide to yell things out my window at other cars, because suddenly I'm part of an opinion that I might not necessarily agree with. I wonder if that's how like politics generally is meant to work. You know, you're just kind of along for the ride, and you know, somebody starts saying something, and you know, you're affiliated with that person, so you have to back them up even if you don't necessarily agree. The world would be a much better place if people stopped yelling out my window. And with that, as I'm sure you're able to see, it is no longer Saturday night. It is now Sunday morning. So thus is the end of Saturday Nights with Seven. I was your host, Seven. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, favorite, do whatever you want to do. You know, it's YouTube. You know how this works. I am going home. It's been a good one. At least, I think it has.